guys? My name is Caleb. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be doing a review of my most worn pants, which are going to be these Blacksign Vocalion or Vocalion. I'm going to say Vocalion selvage single pocket jeans. So these jeans are a reproduction, in my understanding, of a late 1800s pair of Levi's. They are going to have a buckle back and a single pocket. They're also going to have belt loops. They're going to have 5 belt loops. They're on the inside. They're going to have suspender buttons. They have this high up coin pocket, which is all the way on the waistband. A little bit more of an old style detail. Once again, you can see the one pocket. It has exposed rivets, a bit sharp of an exposed rivet, as well as a button fly. And then these are also going to have a red line selvage. I'm not exactly sure who produces this denim. I actually have 2 pairs of these. I have them in 2 different sizes. So here's an example of the same pant in a much newer condition. You can see it's a relatively uniform fabric. Very, very little in the ways of anything kind of standing out as far as like neps go or any type of slubbiness. It is a relatively thick fabric. It almost feels kind of like sweat panty. It's, as the way to describe it, I would say. It's 15 ounces, which normally, in my experience of other similarly weighted jeans, or maybe it's 16 ounces, they don't tend to feel as heavy as these do. These feel to be pretty thick, honestly, partially probably because of how tight the weave is on these and the heavier weight as well. So first things, let's start with this pair, which is my more worn pair. These have a lot of wear in them, and they actually very badly need to be repaired. So these are tagged as a size 36, and I believe that all of their pants fit about 2 sizes smaller from Blacksign, roughly. So these are I believe they measure more like a 34 in most jeans. I was sold these secondhand. Both pairs of these I got secondhand. These came from Jeff, the denim dentist. He had bought 2 different pairs, and I think he enjoyed the smaller pair, so he ended up keeping those. And so I got these for a bit cheaper of a price. They came with almost no wear, and they have been pretty much the only jeans that I've worn for significant periods of time for about the last 2 years now. You can see these are very, very slow fading jeans. They have some pretty drastic examples of some really, really well faded pairs on the Blacksign website and in the media that they produce. But you'll see that despite, obviously there are some high contrast points in specific areas of this pair of pants, but generally these are a pretty slow fading jean. You'll see some specific parts on the knees. You'll see some of these crease lines. Obviously you'll see some of the whiskering in the crotch, but since these are a looser fit, you're not going to see a ton of whiskering. One of the starkest areas is here on that button fly. It's really, really high contrast right there on those buttons, as well as on the different belt loops. And you'll see here in this pocket, there's broken stitching and a lot of lightness here on that pocket. You'll also see it a lot here on the buckle back. I've changed the tightness of these a couple times throughout wearing them. Because of that, it's caused them to get a lot of wear in that section as well. So these pants come decently long, and they have a pretty wide fit. And so because of that, I've put a pretty big double cuff on here, probably about a 2-inch double cuff. You'll see here a decent amount of fading and roping at the edge. I guess I'll unfold this all the ways and let you see. Sorry, these are a little dirty. I've been wearing these recently. A little bit of fading here. So with all my wear, I have actually managed to break these in a couple spots or wear through these in a couple spots. And so I will show you those more in a second after I show you this same jean here in a newer condition. So obviously you'll see here a couple of the same things are present here. You'll see those buttons are already wearing through pretty quickly. If I turn it around, you'll see here on the back, on the buckle back, there's already starting to be some wear there as well. And you'll see some lightness on the belt loops as well. On this newer pair, and these have very, very little wear, I've worn these probably less than 10 times. Right now I'm a little bit too heavy to fit into them, so I haven't gotten much wear on them. You'll see that there's almost no wear on the top of the pockets here, in contrast to the pair that I've had for a little bit longer. This pair here is tagged a size 34, I believe. Although one interesting thing is I believe these came from a different batch because they aren't tagged the exact same. Um, they do have the same suspender buttons and the same little tag here in the back, but this wears down so fast you can't really see anything, and I don't know if they print the individual sizes on these. They come with this herringbone striped pattern pocket bag, both of these do. Here's what the new pair looks like, and then let me show you in contrast what the older pair looks like. So you can see the new pair versus the older pair. You can see the colors lightened a lot. There's a lot of indigo crocking on there. So now I'll quickly run you through these jeans, and I'll show you on my old pair where I'll show you on my old pair some of the failure points and the parts I'm gonna need to get fixed. So here you will see I busted this line of stitching here. You can't see super clearly, but there's a hole in the pocket. In addition to that, on the back, I similarly busted the stitching here on the butt pocket. This got kind of the highest contrast wear area on the seat here, and so it makes sense that this stitching would break through. I believe it's poly cotton stitching, but even then, you can see here at the bottom of the corner, kind of just all the corners, a lot of the stitching has been breaking. But even after like a year and a half or 2 years of pretty consistent wear with relatively infrequent washes, stuff like this is what's going to end up breaking anyways. And then the biggest failure point you'll see right here, which is why I really need to get these fixed, is right here in the butt. Let's see. You can see here, I feel like when I wear them it's not that obvious, but you'll see here that it is broken. A pretty big failure here, and because of that, these are definitely going to be something that's going to have to get replaced. I guess I could just show you, obviously, they're not broken on this pair. You can just see that it looks more normal. So going into the styling of these, because of how dark they are, I will say definitely expect these to be dark for a long time. You're not going to get, I don't think, ever really light wear on these. I think that the pair, like I had mentioned, in their own material that they post was like 7 years old, and they were still relatively high contrast because I think they're so difficult to wear, or to wear in. But what's interesting is, despite how hard it is, it feels like to fade these, the indigo on these rubs off on everything. So we have like white marble countertops, and if I lean against them, it leaves like blue marks all over the countertops. So these are definitely the type of thing you want to be careful where you're sitting in. They have a lot of indigo crocking, and I don't know if that's just this specific pair of, or this specific fabric that Blacksign chose for this pair of pants, or if it's true of their like denim fabrics in general. I'm not entirely sure, but I've definitely noticed that's something I've had to kind of scrub our counters off to make sure there's no blue on them a couple different times. These pants have a pretty generous high rise. I think it's probably close, for most fits, closer to like 13 to even 13.5 inches. Obviously depends on the size, but these are like a true high rise fitting above your navel. And then because they have no yoke, they're not really going to kind of fit and go over your butt like something like a pair of Wranglers might. They're going to have a little bit flatter of a butt, but this pocket is okay positioned. It's not amazing. These aren't going to be the type of thing to make you look sexy. These are more of like a traditional vintage, kind of like a real stovepipe fit. In this specific pair, they fit my leg a lot more of like a regular straight, partially just because I have larger thighs. And so in this specific pair, they don't necessarily look as wide in the 34, but in this wider pair, or in this older pair, the thighs, and because it's a bigger size, the thighs do look a lot wider, especially if there's a break, or if they're with like kind of anything that really puts a big break in your pants and kind of pushes that thigh upwards. It's definitely going to make the thigh look a lot wider. So if you're not used to kind of like a drapey or a flowier silhouette or an aesthetic, then that might be something you need to seriously consider when purchasing these as a pro or a con, depending on what your preferences are. I do like these a lot. I think that I often wear them tucked in with button-up shirts, and it definitely adds a big vintage flair. Or these can honestly even be worn with a t-shirt untucked or tucked. And when the shirt isn't tucked into these, it's not quite as obvious how vintage inspired they are, and they actually blend in decently well. They kind of just look more like a more traditional, like baggy pair of jeans. So they do have a lot of versatility as far as that goes. Although it's not always the most comfortable to wear a really high-rise pair of pants without a shirt tucked in to kind of cover up the higher parts of your stomach where the waistband rubs. These pants can be purchased from Standard and Strange. They pretty regularly stock them, and they can also be purchased basically kind of like proxied. You can ask Standard and Strange and they'll special order them for you on their website. Like I said, I got both of these pairs used. So I think I paid probably, I think like $220 for the first pair, and I think probably $200 for the second pair. I want to say they cost closer to $300 new. I think a big part of that is importing them, and as well, Blacksign doesn't manufacture any of their own stuff. I think they get all of their stuff manufactured by other people and they sell it under their label. So because of that, I think that leads to a general higher price tag as well. So that's a quick video review on these Blacksign Ocaleon pants. I really enjoy them. I've worn them pretty consistently. Once I lose a little bit more weight, I'm pretty excited to wear this smaller pair and hopefully send in this bigger pair to go get repaired in the meantime. I'll update you guys once I get those repairs back and let you know how that went. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.